Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. While anticipation, suspense, speculation continues on why was the special joint session of Parliament called. Also, the cabinet of the Modi government meeting right now. What is it that they have up their sleeve? We're going to get you all of that, but also to put the focus on what was today. In terms of discussion where the Parliament was concerned, to talk of the glorious 75 years of the Indian Parliament. The Prime Minister gave a speech recalling the very inception of the Parliament of Pandit Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Vajpayee, Shastri speaking of how he walked into the hallowed halls of the Parliament. But away from that, there have been speeches that have been made on the floor of this building right behind me. And, it gives you a bit of deep sense of nostalgia. Because for all of us who've reported here, this building turns into a museum very soon. Because from tomorrow, the business shifts to the new. The old will give way to the new. Not without, like I said, a sepia-tinted moment of nostalgia, which will go into the annals of Indian political history, is this iconic building behind me. I'm going to take you through some of those iconic speeches which were made on the floor of this iconic building.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance. It is fitting that at this solemn moment we take the pledge of dedication to the service of India and her people and to the still larger cause of humanity.
पहले चर्चा हुई कि कुछ शर्तें लगाई जा रही, फिर चर्चा हुई कि कोऑर्डिनेटिंग कमेटी बनाना पड़ेगी। फ्लोर पर भी हम लोग कोऑर्डिनेशन करते हैं, उसके बिना तो सदन नहीं चलता। आप सारा देश चलाना चाहते हैं, बड़ी अच्छी बात है, हमारी शुभकामनाएं आपके साथ हैं। हम अपने देश की सेवा के कार्य में जुटे रहेंगे। हम संख्या बल के सामने सर झुकाते हैं और आपको विश्वास दिलाते हैं कि जो कार्य हमने अपने हाथ में लिया है, वो जब तक राष्ट्रीय उद्देश्य पूरा नहीं कर लेंगे, तब तक विश्राम से नहीं बैठेंगे, तब तक आराम से नहीं बैठेंगे। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं अपना त्यागपत्र राष्ट्रपति महोदय को देने जा रहा हूं।
प्रणवदा, रिफॉर्म वो होता है जिससे देश के लोगों की जिंदगी सुधरे। रिफॉर्म वो नहीं होता जिससे अमेरिका में इमेज सुधरे। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जगत में छवि सुधारने से रिफॉर्म नहीं होता। रिफॉर्म तब होगा जब हिंदुस्तान की अर्थव्यवस्था को हार्वर्ड और ऑक्सफोर्ड नहीं समझा सकते। प्रणवदा, हिंदुस्तान की अर्थव्यवस्था को वो समझा सकता है जो गुठली कह करके बात करता है, जो टुकिया कह करके बात करता है। आप उर्दू जबान समझते हैं बहुत अच्छी तरह से, और शेरों में बहुत बड़ी ताकत होती है अपनी बात को आसानी से, सहजता से कहने की। आज एक शेर पूछ करके मैं आपसे जवाब पूछना चाहती हूँ। तू इधर उधर की ना बात कर, ये बता कि काफिला क्यों लूटा। तू इधर उधर की ना बात कर, ये बता कि काफिला क्यों लूटा। हमें रहजनों से गिरा नहीं, तेरी रहबरी का ख्याल है, तेरी रहबरी।
हमको है इनसे वफा की उम्मीद, जो जानते भी नहीं वफा क्या है।
शेर का कभी उधार नहीं रखा जाता। इसलिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री का ये उधार चुकता करना चाहती हूँ। एक नहीं, 2 शेर पढ़ के। पहला,
फिर उन पे उधार हो जाएगा।
पहला, प्रधानमंत्री जी, कुछ तो मजबूरियां रही होंगी, कुछ तो मजबूरियां रही होंगी, यूं ही कोई बेवफा नहीं होता। और मजबूरी क्या है? हमारी मजबूरी ये है कि आप इस देश के साथ बेवफाई कर रहे हैं, इसलिए हम आपके प्रति वफादार नहीं रह सकते।
नेहरू जी ने कहा था कि अटल एक दिन तुम देश का प्रधानमंत्री बनेगा, आपने कहा था। लिखा हुआ है रिकॉर्ड में, आपने कहा था। तो आप एक बार नहीं, आप 2 बार हो गए। नेहरू जी तो एक बार बोले, आप हो गए 2 बार। आप तो जान छोड़िए मुल्क का। महोदय, दूसरे का दे दीजिए। महोदय,
the fact is, viewers, there have been many more speeches which have been made on the floor of the parliament, some of them iconic. Many of our viewers would be, right now suggesting or telling us that why haven't you played that or picked that? Well, this was just the last minute, just a clutch of the few speeches. We're going to keep giving out more through the course of the next 5 days. So be tuned as we'll pull out some of the finest speeches that have been made on the floor of the parliament. But having said that, as we celebrate and reflect and introspect on where we have come after 75 years in the terms of India's parliament journey, I'm joined this evening by former Lok Sabha Speaker Meera Kumar. She presided over the Lok Sabha from 2009-2014, and at this juncture, Ms. Kumar, you were the first woman's Lok Sabha Speaker that India ever saw, and we could possibly, like I said, it's conjecture, but standing on the cusp of a women reservation vote. We're also joined by consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesai, political analyst Javed Ansari, political analyst Manisha Priyam. Cutting across to Meera Kumar first. Ma'am, for somebody who's been the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, it's come a full circle, 75 years. Today we celebrate the journey of the Indian Parliament. How do you see it in terms of reflection, celebration or introspection?
You see, it is certainly a new chapter. But then we have to see that where we are going. Today, our population is the largest in the world. And in that population, the largest number is that of the poor. Now we have a new parliament building. But this building is grand, this building is beautiful. But then it should have the agenda of eliminating poverty and bringing these people out of the poverty, bringing respect to their lives, bringing security to their lives, happiness to their lives. And we are still persisting with the caste system. When are we going to get rid of it? The agenda, a very important agenda of the parliament, when it's shifting to a new building, should be to eliminate the caste system and respect for women. You see what is happening in Manipur, what is happening in so many other parts of the country towards women. So respect for women is another thing which should be an agenda of the parliament when it shifts to a new building. And
Ms. Kumar,
harmony between. It's a multi-religious country. It's a multi-religious country. And in that country, how people should live by respecting each other's religion is very important. And this parliament should represent that. It's very important. The soul of the building is this is what it is. This is what it should be.
Ms. Kumar, you're right in the sense that, there needs to be introspection, especially in terms of the sessions we've seen in the recent past, which have been complete washouts. In terms of debate, we've seen possibly some of the finest oratory that we've seen on the floor of the House. The level of debate might have maybe fallen a little, gotten into more of politics. But the sheer fact that what now is behind me on what you presided over in one of the houses is going to be relegated as this beautiful sepia-tinted image, which will be recorded in the annals of Indian political history, Ms. Kumar. What would be your takeaway, your memory of that?
Yes, it has been a long journey. It has been a fruitful journey. We came out of the foreign yoke, and at this moment, I also very respectfully remember our freedom fighters, because of whom all this has become possible. So our country got independence, and then it had nothing. At that time, we had nothing. And how we have built our nation should be remembered, how we have built our nation. nation building. That was very challenging. This is what was undertaken in the initial years, in the first few decades of this country's journey towards its goal of having socio-economic equality.
Ms. Kumar, where speakers are concerned, you had an inimitable style. And if you allow me, no way is anyone making fun. But it's gone down as something that everyone remembers, where, a very composed Meera Kumar would tell a raucous house, "Baith jaiye, baith jaiye." If you allow me, I'm going to play that once and I'm going to come back to you because, you've been featured in many memes. You've been part of popular culture in terms of, what you used to say in Parliament has actually been remixed into various songs right now in terms of popular culture. I just want to play it for you and I want to come right back, man.
अब बैठ जाइए धीरंजन जी. Nothing will go in record. संजय निरुपम जी, आप भी बैठ जाइए. Nothing will go in record except what LOP is saying. हाँ, बोलिए. आप क्यों खड़े हैं गणेश सिंह जी? आप बैठ जाइए. मैं सदन को ये बताना चाहती हूँ. रमा देवी जी बैठ जाइए, बैठिए.
Ms. Kumar, that Baith jaiye, what you would say. Many of our viewers who possibly didn't watch parliamentary proceedings still know of that. And it's a fabulous way to look at it because people still recall you being a very calm, composed speaker where reprimanding the House would come in as a Baith jaiye.
Oh, I enjoy it because I always said, "Baith jaiye." After all, you have come here not to stand. The people have not sent you to stand, and then we have so many seats here. So you have come here to sit, not to stand. No, I enjoy it.
I'm glad you see, I was a little nervous asking you that question, but I'm glad you see the fun side of it. Any personal memories, Ms. Meera Kumar, because then we're going to thank you for joining us, but any personal memories of your stint as the first woman Lok Sabha speaker?
Any personal moment? Personal moment is that I always ordered lots and lots of rasgullas, and whenever the honorable members came to my office, I first offered them rasgulla, and then I said, now you tell me what you want me to do. But first eat the rasgulla. And rasgulla has a lot of power. It can calm down a person.
Well, I can't agree more. Thank you. Rasgulla can solve a lot of things. Let's see if any of the current speakers have taken that as a tip. Appreciate you joining us, ma'am. Thank you there. Let's cut across to our political panelists this evening. Rajdeep Sardesai, for someone who's covered many seasons of Indian Parliament, where do you see it stand 75 years now? The journey of Parliament, introspection, celebration, reflection.
Preeti, I think that's a very good question. I do believe that we are on the crossroads or the intersection of celebration and introspection. Yes, you can celebrate the fact that you're moving to a new parliament building tomorrow after all these years having been spent in this particular building that has huge historical significance stretching back to the Constituent Assembly debates of the 1940s. But it is also a time of introspection for Parliament as an institution. Remember, Preeti, this 17th Lok Sabha has seen the least number of Parliament sittings. At the start of the 5th year of this Lok Sabha, Parliament had met just 231 times. That's an average of about 56 to 58 times a year, the lowest ever. Of course, this includes the COVID year when Parliament met for just about 20 times. But either way, the number of sittings have significantly reduced. The number of bills passed without discussion have significantly reduced. The number of bills that are sent to select committees, standing committees of Parliament have reduced. The number of ordinances that are brought in without consultation with Parliament have increased. The amount of time wasted during question hour has increased. The number of questions have reduced. The number of adjournments have increased. All of this, I think, suggests that Parliament is facing a serious crisis, a crisis of of the institution and its ability to be seen for what it was meant to be, as our primary legislation making body, with equal space being given in a way to both the government and the opposition. In recent times, we've even seen the treasury benches, almost unprecedented, disrupting parliament. So it's not just the opposition. Even government benches have disrupted parliament in recent times. You'll recall over Rahul Gandhi's comments, for example, earlier this year on the Adani question. So this is a time for both sides across the aisle, government and opposition, to really introspect and ask themselves, why did they become parliamentarians and what useful purpose is parliament really providing at the moment?
Javed, I want to bring you in on this. For somebody who's had possibly the maximum experience of at least who I know, who've seen so many seasons of Parliament and have the privilege to cover so many governments in Parliament. In terms of speeches, in terms of watershed moments, what do you remember?
Well, many Parliament has had its highs and lows, and I've been fortunate to have been present there for the last close to 40 years. Well, Dr. Manmohan Singh's speech when he opened up the economy, when he presented the budget, the tumultuous debates in Parliament in the lead up to and after the demolition of Babri Masjid, the December 17, 1991 debate, the stellar performance put up by Mr. Chandrasekhar and Nitish Kumar, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I was also present in the House when, in response to India's atomic explosion, Pakistan reciprocated with 5 explosions. The House was in session and there was a bit of commotion. And then the senior leaders got together, they trooped out of the House. House continued functioning and they decided it will not adjourn. It sat for 45 extra minutes just to send a message to the world, particularly to our adversaries across the border, that we are not shaken. It's business as usual. So I've seen Parliament at loggerheads. I've seen how parliamentarians have come together, and just to lighten the mood, there was I'll recall Mr. Jaipal Reddy. He made this remark in Parliament saying that it's a humongous lie, and the BJP was in power and they were up in, there was a huge uproar. After the House was adjourned and it met, Prime Minister Vajpayee says, भाई आप ऐसी अंग्रेजी बोला कीजिए जो सबको समझ में आए. And इसका मतलब क्या होता है? Explain. And there was Renuka Chaudhary. She walked up in good humor. She pointed to her hips and said, humongous is me. This is humongous. And that's how they diffused a very tense situation. I've witnessed Parliament when it's been adjourned. I've witnessed Parliament when parliamentarians have come together. It's been accommodative. It's been inclusive. So I do believe it's all very well to name former prime ministers. It's also important to imbibe some of the things that we stood for and to give primacy, to restore to Parliament the primacy once enjoyed in the eyes of prime ministers.
Right. Manisha, Priyam, your biggest takeaways as we hand over, the old to the new.
So I do remember now what is the old building, the museum building of the Parliament, very fondly, very deep memories attached at a personal level also. But I do think a few very important moments that were watershed moments. Remember, prior to the emergency, when Indira Gandhi was usurping power and there's a ding-dong battle between the Parliament and the judiciary, the basic structure doctrine putting in place what the Parliament could enact and what it could do. And that kind of laid the way between a balanced role between the Parliament and the judiciary. But then, post-77, you had a new government coming in power. The Congress very wary of those who came into power then, led by Morarji Desai. But soon, power was such a glue that it could not bind the disparate political parties that had come in, and Indira Gandhi came back with a majority. So, you heard in Chikmagalur, the cries of her being a Sherni. She fought back and came back to power. Once again, the VP Singh moment, when the Congress's own majority was ruptured by someone who broke ranks, and a new government that comes to power. But the moments that I remember the most was the no confidence motion against a weak Narasimha Rao government, and how Govind Charan Munda's lone vote saved that government from falling. And of course, I would agree with Meera Kumar on a personal note. My mother was then a member of parliament. The rasgullas tasted really nice, and that's something I will remember.
All right. On that note, I'm going to close the show. We're terribly out of time. Appreciate you all for joining us, but we're going to continue this conversation as we continue the politics and the developments and the speculations around it. Thank you for joining us.